Springtime is here. What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Pigskin Pete here. What's up to all my Clemson Tiger fans out there? What's up to all my college football fans out there? Spring practice heating up all around the country. I don't give advice a lot about YouTube, but occasionally I do have people that come to me and say, "Hey man, I really like your channel. I like what you do. I like what you say. I'm thinking about doing the same thing. I'd like to start a YouTube channel. What do you think? What sort of advice can you give me?" Now, I will fully admit, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I don't know if I'm the person that should be giving advice to anybody as far as YouTube is concerned. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, and I got whatever it is, 6,200 subscribers or somewhere around there. So I don't know if I should be giving advice to anybody. But when people do ask me, I try to accommodate whatever their question is. But in reality, the thing I want to really tell them is, if you're planning on starting a college football-based YouTube channel, don't do it. The reason is because it's the longest off season in all of major sports. So we sit around here, we got 5.5 months now between now and the start of the 2023 college football season. Now, one of the great parts of the year, as far as YouTube is concerned, or any kind of content creation, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that we do have spring practice. We do have the spring games, which, by the way, I go to the spring game every year, ever since I've been on YouTube. So I will be up there this year for the spring game. So if you want to hang out, if you want to come say hello, holla at your boy. I'll be up there with a couple of guys that I go with every single year for the past 6 years. Guys that I actually met on YouTube and have become really, really good, close friends of mine. But anyway, spring practice is heating up. And some bad news for the Clemson Tigers. And I realize, before I even get into this, that this is an issue for a lot of different teams. It's not unique to Clemson in any certain sort of way. But the amount of injuries and the amount of guys that are sitting out early spring practice is a little bit alarming to me. And I want to name a couple of guys in particular. Well, 3 of the top starters at the wide receiver position for Clemson, which has been a position over the past couple years that has been questionable at best. When you go through the run of wide receivers that came through Clemson, South Carolina over the past 10 years, it's really ridiculous. When you look at the NFL right now, the list is as long as my arm of elite NFL wide receivers who were also elite wide receivers at their time at Clemson. And we're looking for that guy right now. We got a bunch of 4-stars. I mean, it's not like we're complete poverty at the wide receiver position at Clemson, but it's just been bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And in my opinion, and we'll get into this in a minute, just bad development and bad play calling on top of that. Quarterback play has been for the past couple of seasons. Wide receiver play has been for the past couple of seasons. But 3 of the top guys coming into the season are not participating in spring practice. The guy I really want to focus on, there's several of them. Adam Randall, another guy that's been plagued with the injury bug in his very short time in Clemson. Bo Collins, who was sort of a bright spot last year in a somewhat depleted wide receiver room. And last but not least, and the guy I want to focus on right now, Troy Stellato. Troy Stellato in 2021 played 12 snaps, got injured, was out for the rest of the year, redshirted. 2022, he missed the entire season due to an injury that he sustained in fall camp. So fast forward to 2023, where we are now with spring practice, not participating in spring practice due to injury again. This is getting a little bit concerning because the guy definitely has potential to be a game changer and a playmaker in this offense. And look, I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. I'm just saying I'm concerned because he's been there for 3 years now. He's going into his 3rd season, and the guy's played 12 snaps of football. and he's not participating in spring practice. This is a little bit concerning. And it's not even just the offensive side of the football. There's like 15 guys, and I'm not talking about bench role players. I'm talking about starters who are out for either injury or recovering from some sort of off-season surgery that they had to have. This is not good. So I am a little bit concerned about the offense. But let's flip from my concern about the offense to my optimism about the offense. And let's get into Garrett Riley, the new offensive coordinator for the Clemson Tigers. All of the different game-changing universities, all of the heavy hitters have had a lot of turnover. Maybe not all of them, but a bunch of them have had a lot of turnover at the coordinator position from 2022 to 2023. In my humble opinion, when it comes to the offensive coordinator position, Clemson won the lottery. Dabo Swinney, and I made a whole video about this. I'm not going to go into my rant about Dabo Swinney, doing what he needed to do, which I didn't think he would do and nobody else thought he would do, and firing Brandon Streeter when he did, and going out there and making a power move, son, and getting Garrett Riley from TCU. But Garrett Riley has already won me over, and I haven't seen one snap of football that he's calling plays for or developing these players for. He's saying all the right things. If you're not a Clemson fan and you haven't been living through the misery of watching this offense perform for the past 2 seasons, you might not know exactly what we're talking about. We've all got the same complaints, don't we? Stubbornness in play calling. If I had to hear Brandon Streeter one more time talk about we take what the defense gives us, I would put my head through this drywall right here behind me. Take what the defense gives us. Well, I guess they ain't giving you shit because you ain't been doing shit for the past 2 years. Garrett Riley not saying that at all. Not saying, as a matter of fact, he's saying the exact opposite. He said yesterday in an interview, it doesn't matter if the defense knows exactly what play we're about to run because we're just going to outplay them. F what the defense gives us. We're just going to beat you off the line. This has been an absolute nightmare for the past 2 seasons, watching a bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits out there that look like they don't even know what a football is. And this has been, and I want to say this too, because people get really butthurt when I talk about Brandon Streeter, as if I hate the guy, or he's a Clemson guy, Pete. He's a nice guy, Pete. He's a family guy, Pete. All the coaches love him, Pete. All the players can't say enough great things about him, Pete. Well, that's great. That's great. But there's a lot of great people out there who get fired for not doing their job. And the product offensively that's been put on the field in Clemson, South Carolina for the past 2 seasons is just unacceptable. That's all there is to it. So shout out to Dabo Swinney for being a man. Another reason, piggybacking off of yesterday's video, another reason I love Dabo Swinney, because he did something I didn't think he would do. But this is music to my ears. The first 3 offensive plays from scrimmage and spring practice were throws over the middle. That's 3 more throws over the middle than we've seen in 2 years. And it wasn't even in a game. It was at practice. So I don't even know where to begin to tell you how much I love the philosophy that Garrett Riley is bringing to this offense. I can't tell you. He's got a totally different mindset than what's been happening. Now, of course, Dabo Swinney, as much as people like to talk about how Dabo Swinney, isn't an X's and O's guy, he's not a play caller, he just hires good people to put around him and all that. Dabo Swinney definitely has an influence on this offense. And it's very noticeable because they've been through several offensive coordinators. 4 or 5 of them since he's been there. But there's always one common denominator. Quarterback running the football. If Dabo Swinney is the head coach of your football team, the quarterback's going to run, and I'm not talking about scrambles, I'm talking about designed runs. Dabo Swinney's offenses are going to have 8 to 10 to 12, maybe even more, designed quarterback runs every single game. You can write it down. As a matter of fact, if you need to remember it, you could tattoo it on your forehead. But if you do tattoo it on your forehead, make sure you tattoo it backwards so that when you look in the mirror, it reads correctly. And every single defense out there knows it too. They've seen the film. So there's something, what I'm getting at here in a very long-winded way is, there's some things in the Clemson offense that just are not going to change, whether it's Garrett Riley, Tony Elliott, or anybody else calling the plays. But Garrett Riley is bringing a fresh idea to this offense. And that idea is, we're not going to sit there and go in the film room and look at defenses and say, this is how we need to attack this defense. Take what they give us. No, we're going to take it to them. How about try to stop it instead of this stubborn crap that we've been seeing for the past 2 years? Not to mention, and I don't want to hate on DJ Uiagalelei, because I like DJ Uiagalelei. I'm rooting for him at Oregon State. I think he's a great kid, and I also think he's a supreme talent. But man, he did regress at Clemson. You know, as much as I love to hate on his dad, Big Dave, Big Dave had a point. and whatever other family members, maybe it was his uncle or something, was, on Twitter after he decided to transfer to Oregon State and saying that DJ regressed at Clemson. He's talking about his own family member. And he's blaming that on, basically blaming it on Brandon Streeter. But he was right. But if you look at the track record of anywhere where Garrett Riley has been involved with quarterback play, the quarterback play for the players that he's coached has not regressed. It's been the total opposite. Max Duggan, TCU, a team full of 3-star players, was a Heisman finalist last year and a playoff team. A playoff team. Now, I'm not saying Max Duggan's not a great player, but does anybody really believe that if Garrett Riley wasn't the offensive coordinator at TCU last year, that Max Duggan would have been a Heisman finalist and that they would have been a playoff team? I'll go ahead and tell you, you don't even have to think for yourself. I'll think for you. The answer is no. The answer is no. So, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I really can't remember. I've been trying to remember. When is the last time that I was this excited about a coordinator coming into Clemson? You'd have to go back to Brent Venables and Chad Morris, I think. And even Chad Morris, the Chad Morris thing, I don't even know how excited I was before I ever saw him call plays. Now, once I saw the product on the field, I was clearly excited because it was something different. It was something new. It was something outside of the box. It really put Dabo Swinney and Clemson Tiger football offensively on the map when Chad Morris got there. Same thing with Brent Venables. That just speaks for itself. Brent Venables might be the best defensive mind in the country as a coordinator. We'll see how he does as a head coach. I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. I think he'll be fine, but I don't really think I can't remember in recent history the last time I was this excited about a coordinator before ever seeing a snap played in an actual football game. So the optimism runs high in Clemson, South Carolina. Well, I can't speak for everybody. The optimism runs high in the Pigskin Pete household. So there it is. There it is. Y'all have a great day.